Do you want to be average? Do you want to be above average? Do you want to stand out? I mean, are you in this game just to have a fight, or are you in this game to become the champion? It's time.
Gentlemen, welcome back to the Men's Collective podcast, the place where you get the real men with real talk with none of that BS. We are the Average Joes, Wayne Taylor here, and joined again by the regulars, Mikey and Jamie. Welcome, fellas.
Hey, boys.
Mate, setting the tone. Just a little bit of BS.
Just a little bit of BS today. We'll try and avoid it. Try and add you in there if we can. We do have a special guest who I'm going to introduce you pretty soon, but we'll just introduce him for now as Nathan. Welcome, Nathan.
How are we? How you doing?
Good, mate. Good to have you. Thanks for making the trip up, especially
Of
just
course.
for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just for you guys.
Bit of a drive.
Yeah, nothing else.
Buddy?
Yeah, no.
No, well, mate, glad to have you, mate, and we're going to tell you a bit more about Nathan in a minute, so we'll jump onto that. Big thanks to One Life Property for supporting us. You guys are absolute legends. We say it every week. You know, we appreciate what you did, helping us with this studio. So you listeners out there, jump on their website. They have investment opportunities. We can get involved with some stuff. They're great guys, so big thanks to them. Also to you guys that have given us so many reviews online. You've sent in comments and stuff. It's actually made us, it's phenomenal. We really appreciate your feedback. It's been great. Had some more come through this week, which is really, really good because it means that you're getting a lot out of the content we're providing, which means a lot to us. So huge thanks to you. Our audience, you guys are great. Look, don't forget to check out any of our merch and all the stuff on the website for any more gear and content. It's all there. Check it out. But look, a couple of announcements. The books from John Comerford that we released, that we said last week that we'd buy, those books have arrived. I've sent those out to you guys that have reached out. There might be a couple more left, but if you do want one, reach out to us because, like I said, we bought them. We'll give them to you on behalf of us as a gift. Reach out, we'll send them over to you. But actually, I spoke to John yesterday, and this is really cool. I didn't inform you of this already, but John rang me yesterday, and for November and December, any sale of his book, he's giving a percentage to our Feed the Homeless thing on a Thursday.
Yeah, cool.
Which is awesome. He was so appreciative of what we've done for him and supporting him and what he's doing, that he rang me yesterday and said, hey, I'll just let you know, mate, for the next 2 months, big percentage of what he's doing and his sales are going to come to us to feed the homeless, which is
So good
unreal.
steak next week, boys.
So all you homeless people listening out there, it's ribeyes, it's ribs, all the stuff.
Well,
They're really good.
let's see the sales come in first before we start buying the...
So big shout out to John. He's doing great things. He's a really good fella. Guys, send in your questions for next week for Ask Us Anything. We'll get on those and we might even add them in as best we can. Hey, something random. I don't like to talk about these kind of things, but I've been talking to Mike and Jamie about this. We're going away in 2 nights. I've been nominated for an award. I don't like to talk about this kind of stuff, but it's pretty crap. It's, you know me, I'm not an awards guy, but I have been nominated for an award for what we do with Average Joe. So look, guys, at the end of the day, it's a big shout out to you and kudos to you because you guys are the reason we do it. We love all that. So look, hey fellas, accountability. We introduced an accountability thing last week. How have we been going with it? Jamie, first one.
Mate, well, I think I've been holding you accountable. So
You've done well.
yeah,
Finally.
it's actually
I'm holding you accountable to holding me accountable.
Well, it's actually interesting because one of the steps of holding people accountable is actually knowing what they need. So, you know, as I was saying, like, you know, we went to the barbecue last week and I was like, oh, I shouldn't be eating that or whatever. And then you're like, oh, you haven't talked to me. And you're like, no, I want to be spoken to each day. A little bit needy, but that's okay.
I had been rocking back and forth a few nights going, when's he going to call me? When's he gonna call me?
So, but no, like, yeah, you've been doing great. On my sort of stuff with the saying no and staying sort of, I guess, focused on what we're looking at. I've had no accountability from my accountability partner, but
We spoke last week. We sat on the deck for an hour and
They come in
talked
weak
about it.
blocks, mate. All right?
but we've been doing it, so yeah, that's good.
You told me you were saying no to everything, so I was like, he's done.
Do you want me to hold you
Winning.
accountable? No.
No.
How you going? No.
Oh, how'd you go, Mikey?
Mate, good. 4 key down and loving
Well
life.
done, mate.
Yep. So it's good.
Because we've been in a situation a few times this week where food's been on the table and we've been like, no, you know what, let's
The
not.
breakfast
let's
the
not.
other day, right?
We
That-
did.
That sucked.
Yeah,
Like,
we went to a business
bacon and
breakfast,
egg
yeah.
wraps laying out everywhere. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Willpower.
Okay.
Stick with my water, thanks.
Yeah, Wayne was holding
Exactly.
me back from the table.
No, it's really good. Well, it's those. Yeah, I've done really well this week. I did a 3-day fast, and yeah, it's really, really good. So it's working. We hold each other accountable. We're doing it, and that's the major stepping stone for us men becoming better. Accountability, really, really good. Righto, fellas, it's time for the segment. Jamie, over to you, buddy, for Ask Us Anything.
All right, thanks, guys. So the first question we have is from Mark. So Mark said, I've been waking up every morning with my chest all tight. No real reason, just that the constant pressure just feels like constant pressure, like I'm behind on life. I don't talk about it much, but is this what anxiety feels like? I've never been one to feel anxious, so wouldn't mind your thoughts on it.
It's a big one. You want to start, Jamie? You go for it, bud.
Well, I think that, I can relate with you 100% because I didn't I feel like that sometimes, but I haven't labeled it as anxiety. You know what I mean? But I think there was a couple of things that I do think about is that, if you spend too much time worrying about in the past, then that's normally when you're sort of feeling depressed or down and all that sort of stuff. You always wish you could do better or things aren't as good as, or you're not where you want to be type thing. But if you spend too much time in the future, they say, well, or thinking about the future, then that's what causes anxiety, And, I feel like Kung Fu Panda, but we should spend our time, today is a gift because it's in the present.
You look a bit like Poe.
Mate, you watch what I do for dumplings.
I ain't eaten any of those.
But also there is a bit of things there where, the killer of joy is attachment and comparison sort of thing. So, if you can spend more time in appreciation, those feelings can die down. And I think by taking time and enjoying the present, then that anxiety can actually sort of subside. But that's sort of what came to me was those two things. Spend time in the present right now. I'm not a big believer that you have to label it, but I think that, if you just focus on appreciation on what you have and focusing on right now, then potentially that may help.
Well said, buddy. Look, I'm not a big, I wouldn't say I've gone through anxiety attacks and things like that, but I definitely wake up in the morning quite a lot worrying. Like, I guess, you guys know that my business is in New South Wales and I live here in Queensland. So having a business in an entirely another state, that has its own stresses and things attached to it. So waking up with the whole anxious feeling, I've been there. I wouldn't say it's crippled me by any sorts, but I've definitely been there where you worry about, could this happen? Could this, what happens if this and all that kind of stuff. And I think one of the best sayings I've ever heard that I stick with is that, I don't know the exact percentage, but it's like 99% of those things don't ever really happen. So it's that 1% that ever does. So 99% of what you worry about, it's all made up in your head. You've overthought it. You're going too deep. So I just go, you know what? If this is what I'm really worried about, at the end of the day, chances are it's not going to happen. So I pull myself back. But to say I've been there where it seems like for you, buddy, it's been crippling and stuff. I haven't been there, but I would just encourage you to start thinking 99% of that stuff doesn't even happen, bud. So stay strong, mate. Fellas, thoughts?
Yeah, I've got a lot of thoughts, but first thing that pops into my mind is often we can be plagued in the middle of the night when we're asleep, right? And the reason why that happens is because most of the time we haven't had enough pause time and enough breathing space to allow things to just be, to know what's under the hood. So and this is why a lot of people may struggle with meditating, because they go, oh, it's actually making me more anxious, right? Because then now all of a sudden there's these anxious thoughts and anxious feelings. Well, they were actually always there. It's just you're stopping enough for things to kind of float up and see what's actually happening. And I think like anxiety manifests in different ways for different people. So it might, for me, I would feel dissociated out of my body, disconnected from my body, almost like a dreamlike state. And I did go through a phase where I felt like I was having a heart attack, like where the chest felt really tight. And then I'd start worrying that I was, is there something that the doctors are missing, or, and you go down that rabbit hole. And so what I have learned over my time is that the body kind of does speak to you in different ways, and it does pay to just every day just check in with yourself. Like be your own best friend, to just go, all right, where am I feeling discomfort? I'm feeling it in the chest, I'm feeling it in the stomach. And just sit with it and ask yourself the question, all right, what's behind this? And you generally get an answer. And then, because you're doing this in the safety of your own space, write it down and then just look at it objectively and go, is this one of those, the chances of it happening are, nothing, or is it something I need to look at and address, and you put it in that column of, whether it's irrational or rational. If it's irrational, it's about surrender and just letting go and working on your faith. And then the other is about, problem solving. So that's what I would say. Yeah.
That's good, mate. Mikey.
Yeah, what he said.
I was waiting for it.
I mix it up, not Jamie this week. But I can relate to waking up. I can definitely relate to waking up and feeling that the stressness of it. Like Pip tells me that I've got massive anxiety, and I'm like, only when you're here. No, but she does say that to me. But like, she also loves to label stuff, and with you, Jamie, I'm not into the whole labeling thing. Like, I'll go, as men, we've got a lot going on in our life. We're all trying to push and do more and do better. And sometimes we just let it get on top of us. One of the things I've done, actually, when you talk about stopping and checking in with yourself, I took up cigars.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, literally, because when I was watching these videos about cigars, the guy everyone was saying, it's a great way for us to stop, and we have to have an hour where we will tend to this thing and enjoy the flavour and focus. And it's about taking yourself out of your own head and putting it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And, it must the same way people enjoy doing what we do with the feeding the community. People enjoy taking themselves out of their own head and focusing on outward for a change. So, but mate, if you are struggling, speak to someone, speak to a mate.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for, right?
Yeah,
we all do it regularly. We sit down as much as we'll mess around on the podcast. We have coffees all through the week, and when something's going down, we talk about it. So
it is mind blowing how common it is. It's not a, it's not a sign of weakness or anything. It's just something that you probably just got to work at understanding. What's going on. We all have feelings. We would be not human if we didn't have feelings.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that, Mike. I'll touch on that before we move on. But the whole cigar thing and by any means, what's the guy's name? Sorry, what's your name? Mark. Mark, I'm not telling you to take up cigars, but Mike and I were just having this conversation again just yesterday. But Mike had mentioned to me when he started cigars, he said, it's funny because they're actually designed to slow you down. And my wife has been saying to me for a very long time, you need to find ways to slow down. Because
was that what she meant?
You're an idiot. Because the truth is, right, I will get out of the shower sweating, right? Because I do everything quick. I get in there, I shower quick, and my wife always says to me, you need to find something that's going to help you slow down. And when you said cigars, so Mark, I'm not saying cigars, mate, but I think it's a really good point. Find something in your life that's going to make you just slow down. Because when you slow down, you start to appreciate the things that are around you, and that might help you, buddy. So
what I will say though, mate, if Mark's listening right now, mate, hit us up. We'll have a cigar together.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, true.
And just a quick disclaimer for Mark, if you do have chest pains, get it sorted out. Yeah. So heart disease is Australia's biggest killer. So
and then you can put the monkey mind to rest. You know, the doctors go, there's nothing going on there. Then
excellent. Next, we've got Darren. Hey boys, every time I try to slow down, it feels weird. It's kind of like I don't know how to relax anymore. Why do blokes like us feel guilty for resting?
Literally, we're just saying.
Well, look.
What Mike said.
Look, I think that this is always an expectation type of thing, and I think that when a lot of people do work, one of the light bulb moments for them is for them to realize that people are just doing the best they can with what they have at that particular time. So whether it's yourself or with other people, and et cetera, et cetera. So one of the lessons I learned early in going through my career early was that perfection doesn't exist. And I think a lot of the time when you're trying to be perfect in every single aspect of your life, that can feel like you're not doing enough, you're not good enough, all these types of things. So I think if you can just switch those mindsets to actually you're doing the best that you can with what you have, and that all you need to do is progress rather than try to be perfect, then it actually gives you permission to be able to go, okay, that's a really great effort. Because I've seen so many people give so much, get burnt out,
For sure.
and then they can't do anything from there. And if anything, they perform worse than what they did if they would actually just slowly progress and work up from there. So give yourself permission to actually put yourself first, which is it's a great topic that we've done previous, but actually, put that effort in, be honest with yourself. Now, you can't lie with to the man in the mirror. If you're not putting in the effort, then that's, read David Goggins' book and get onto that sort of stuff. But I don't think that's...
Oh, man, that guy.
Yeah.
Just call yourself a pussy.
Yeah. Punch yourself in the dick.
So, if you're lying to yourself, then absolutely, give yourself a kick up the ass. But I don't think that that's the problem in most people.
I agree, mate. Look, I think when men struggle to relax, I think a lot of it ties into a bit of a feeling of guilt. And what I mean by that is that a lot of what we do, Mikie just touched on it before, a lot of what we do as men, because we're so outward focused, to protect and provide for our families and things like this, a lot of the time when the opportunity is there to relax, there's sometimes that attachment of guilt of, but what if there's something I've overlooked, I haven't done yet? What if my family I can't relax? Because the truth is, mate, you can. And look, I'm preaching to the choir here when I say this, because this is one thing I've still need to learn, but learning as we go. And it's exactly what Jamie just said. We did a podcast about permission to put yourself first, and you just have to, as a guy, and lose the guilt. Your family's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay, because at the end of the day, we did this. We used this metaphor a little while back about, when you fly on a plane and the mask drop down with the oxygen, and the stewardess will always say, put the mask on yourself first, then do everybody else around you. Reason being is because if you don't look after you, you can't look after them. So it's important to rest, relax, and look after yourself as a guy. Let go of the guilt. Your family's going to be okay. Let go of the guilt. Even if it's just an hour a week that you can lock out for you, it's okay to rest and relax. So
you look at the most... the forefront of productive, the corporate world, like Google have table tennis, like in their Google office, they have games rooms and all that type of stuff. And I think they've worked out something like a 2 to 3 hour concentrated block of work before you lose that flow, like you're not productive anymore. And so even a little hack in your head can be associate, that book in that time to switch off, but associate it with this ultimately on the overall makes me more productive. Like it's nothing I should be feeling guilty about. I mean, that's a different conversation if you're getting pressure elsewhere about not doing enough. But I just know, even as a songwriter, after a while, I'm not good. I'm slower. I've got to take a break. Because flow will disappear after a certain amount of hours, and also, what type of presence would you be for your family and your kids anyway if you're a stressed out, cranky bastard? Nobody, you're not filling anyone's love cup 100%. Being that. So
who's been called that before?
What else have you been called, Mike?
Yeah, I'm like, geez, it's like she's writing in. You've been writing in.
You've ticked one box. What are the other 10?
Yeah, it's true. Well, it's funny, like as men, we're all about, and I'm guessing someone who's struggling to relax, you're all about hitting goals, achieving, solving problems. Not knowing how to relax is something else you need to conquer, right? So it's almost, if you double back on yourself and go, right, this is something I need to master, attack, and win.
Like another project, really. It's like a muscle that you got to learn how to use. Yeah.
You got it. So if you apply all of the things you do to solving other problems in your life, you've got what you need to be able to solve it, right? You just need to work on it. And cigars, honestly. Check out my link below to the cigar website.
I think it was it Abraham Lincoln that said if I had 10 hours to chop down a tree,
I'll spend 9 of it
sharpening the axe. In other words, instead of just going gun-ho and becoming exhausted, chill out, relax.
Actually, it's funny, there's a co-writer, like somebody who I write with up here, I've written a few songs with her. We probably talk for about 80% of the time, and boom, a song just comes out, in 20% of that time. Versus some of the other writers I work with would just grind away for hours on end. Like Steve Kotler, have you heard of him?
No.
He's a founder of the Flow Collective, and it's the study of brain chemistry and flow to be, as productive as possible to understand what's going on. And you got to look up that some of that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
So those 3-hour coffees are really us just prepping ourselves.
Yeah.
That's right. That's relaxing.
All
That's
right.
it, Jamie.
That's it,
Thanks
boys.
for that, buddy. Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so if you want to put in questions, just jump on our socials, send us an email. Telephone number is still coming, Samuel. But yeah, thanks, guys. I think that was one of the best segments. Like, there was some really great information there. So,
Good content there, mate. Good questions, lads. Thanks,
over
guys.
to you, Wayne.
Mikey, buddy, over to you, mate, for the week that was.
Guys, everyone said I was crazy when I built that bunker.
I know where we're going with this one. I saw the article.
So, today, Donald Trump announces he's going to be testing nuclear weapons again. So,
is this with the backing of the UN? Have the UN given approval to this or what? Because we know that Trump can fire from the hip pretty quick.
and I do like that about him, to be honest. It's a good thing. So, all of this stuff about, Albo messing up Australia, maybe it doesn't matter anymore.
We won't be here next year. Yeah, I actually saw that article, and when I was reading it, I'm like, wow, what does this do now for the world? Like, I know that the UN had things set in place, which kind of gives every country that sense of safety to some degree. But you've got Russia now with the Ukraine, a couple of years now into this war, and now Trump's come out, because Trump's made threats too, especially to Russia too, like, if you keep going, mate, we're going to come at you. He's done some stuff in Gaza, he's done all this stuff, and now come out and gone, we're testing nuclear. I go, mate, I don't know if, is Trump the right guy to have his access to nuclear weapons? Man, I don't know.
Do you know what?
Scary times.
There's probably no good person to have the access to those weapons, but probably better than Sleepy Joe. I reckon he might fall on the button, but at least Trump will punch it in rage.
That's that article. Joe Biden fell asleep and fell on nuclear button.
Pressed the button. Thought he was opening the minibar and pressed the
Yeah, scary times we live in. I think that's huge that Trump is doing that.
That's right. And
Crazy
a bit closer to home, Albo's talking about digital currency coming to Australia.
I saw that. Gone with the dollar. Crypto all the way.
Crypto all the way. How are we going to do cashies, Wayne?
Hell, I'm going to do cashies.
We go, I'll do
Bring your
that
phone
for
in.
3 pieces of silver.
Do you take rocks?
Well, mate, if inflation keeps going, we might have to do it for a loaf of bread. So...
Chances are. We touched on crypto a little bit last week in one of the questions that came in, but yeah, Albo's come up with a big thing. I don't know whether Albo's trying to get in the good books with the 90% of Australia that's gone against him. Who knows? But yeah, look, crypto is definitely digital currency, definitely a big topic around the world. It has been for a few years, and now countries are leaning more and more towards it. So Albo.
Yep. Pauline, if you're listening, we'd love to get your comments on the topic.
I did actually email Pauline this week, and Richard, somebody replied back saying, not just yet. So, okay, thanks. I replied back.
A few more followers.
Yeah, we will get followed. Well, thanks for that, Mikey. That was the week that was interesting. Trumpy and some nuclear stuff. Unsure. Righto, boys, over to the next topic, which is man versus machine. Righto, fellas, this is the part of the show where I ask you guys a hard question. I ask the same question to ChatGPT, aka Chad as we call him. And I want to get your responses. I want to compare real life experience with emotion and stuff that we go through as humans, compare it to this ever changing monstrosity of machine called AI. So guys, I'm going to ask you the question first, and I'll tell you what AI said. Are you ready? If survival is instinct, then why do so many men feel most alive when they're close to dying? If survival is instinct, then why do so many men feel most alive when they're close to dying? Hard one. Toughie.
Mate,
I knew this would be a tough one.
can you read the question again, please, Wayne?
I will answer it. If survival is instinct, so in other words, if our survival mode for humans, if our instinct is to survival, everything's about survival. If survival is instinct, why do so many men feel most alive when they're close to dying?
Do you know what? Life's pretty easy these days, right? You go back a few hundred years and survival was a lot harder than it is now. Like in today's culture, you can literally not work, not do anything, and you'll have a roof over your head. You have food on the table. You've literally just got to roll down to Macca's and get it, right?
True.
So maybe we're most alive when it's on, pedal to the metal. Like it's when your life's in danger, that's when everything starts going, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or could it be that you're not actually living?
Yeah.
when you're living in that comfort zone or when you're living in comfortability.
That's a good point, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say that routine lulls the brain to sleep. There's a Dr. Joe Dispenza said that, and where you just kind of rolling with it. And there's so much routine because everything's so familiar. But when you've got to do something to survive, whether you're in battle, I don't think you're ever as present as what you are in that moment. Mix that with the cocktail of adrenaline.
Yep.
You are here and now, and you are adrenalized.
Yeah.
You know, versus, you know, most of life you are just most of us are living out that comfort zone routine and probably not fully conscious.
Yeah,
That's probably what I'd say.
Yeah. Right, so I want to ask you again, give me a real quick dot point answer. So question being, if survival is instinct, why do so many men feel most alive when they're close to dying? Jamie, what did you say?
That you're not really living when you're comfortable.
Mikey?
Yeah, we're just not living up to our full potential. We're not pushing hard enough.
Nath?
Focused on the present with crazy amounts of adrenaline.
Done. Okay, do you want to hear what ChatGPT said? I asked Chat the same question. So Chat said...
The most unalive person is answering.
You're actually right, yeah. Okay. We think actually it's probably more alive than what we know now. Okay, so I asked ChatGPT, if survival is instinct, why do so many men feel most alive when they're close to dying? And Chat said, because safety keeps you alive, but danger reminds you that you're living. When a man's close to the edge, everything fake burns off. No masks, no noise, just a heartbeat, breath, and truth. That's not death calling, that's life screaming. Interesting. Okay, so then I asked Chat then, how do you think we would respond as humans when asked the same question? So Chat predicted that we would go, most men wouldn't answer it with words, they'd answer it with a look. The half smile that says, yeah, I know that feeling. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? They'd say things like, because that's when you finally know what you're made of, or because pain's proof that I'm still alive. I'm still here to fight, sorry. Men wouldn't break it down like data. They'd speak from scars. They'd talk about the crash, the close call, the punch, the heartbreak, the moments that stripped away the fluff and left only truth. To a man, the edge isn't about chasing death. It's about touching life without the filters. That's the difference. The machines seek safety, men seek clarity.
Wow, ChatGPT had high expectations of us.
Yeah, we're going to have to change our name to the Women's Collective.
The more in-depth thought about collective.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chat actually thought we were a bit, you know what this means to me? This means I need a smarter panel to join me next week.
Do you know who would have been good to ask that question? Dennis Hogan, man.
Yeah, actually, he would have had a pretty in-depth answer to that one, right?
Yep.
But I think also one point we missed was the endorphin side of things, and you alluded to it.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, people actually go out and party and take substances and do all this sort of stuff to try to feel more alive because they're chasing that feeling. Do you know what I mean? But it doesn't have to be in that aspect. Like, as you said, meditation, time with the family, like special things can actually make you feel that way as well too. So I think those endorphins or, the things that are coming up in your body, that also is part of it too.
A lot of those big wave surfers, the ones that surf like slab rocks and stuff, like they talk a lot about that, is that's where they feel the most alive when they're doing really dangerous stuff.
Close to the edge kind of stuff.
Yeah.
True. Weird, isn't it? Well, Chat seems to...
Safe.
That's exactly right. Well, guys, that was Man vs. Machine. That was interesting. Mikey, I'll start with you, buddy, for Out and About.
Guys, as we speak, because we're recording a day early this week, as we speak, some of our friends are pulling the barbecue trailer together. So a couple of the guys from AJ's in Mooloolaba and Budrum taking the lead tonight and taking the trailer out into town. So I reckon our butcher's order's about ready, and in about 10 minutes' time, 120 beautiful gourmet sausages are going to be picked up. Heading down to Nambour there, and I can hear the thunder. So there may be some leftovers.
Maybe 20. Maybe 20
there may be a few left. So, which is good because Wayne hasn't eaten today, so he can have his.
Everyone loves boiled
He
stones.
can have his baguette followed with 12 sausages in it.
That's right.
So,
the big French stick. Yeah, it's the.
That's it. So, yeah, but look, on a serious note, if it does rain tonight, May not happen, hey?
May not happen, mate.
May not happen, which is what we're doing with the fundraising right now. So we're getting more donations. So guys, if you're donating, thank you very much for what you've given so far. New food trailer, rocking and rolling. That will completely change how we do it. We'll be weatherproof. As opposed to right now running around in a sieve, which what it is. It's mate, you haven't seen the rig, so you're doing a gig tomorrow night, right? And we're going to be there. And we are right around the corner from where you're doing the gig. Nice. We rock up on the square there Thursdays, big barbecue trailer, and we've got a heap of tables that go around, music going, and everyone from the community. There's homeless, people that are lonely, people that are just doing it a bit tough. All come down. Once the music goes, it's like the bat signal goes out. And you just get all the guys will come out from nowhere. So which is interesting, right? Because we're not organised with this event at all. Like usually it's Wayne and I, Jamie will just rock up and whoever's there on the day, they're there to help and we'll get it done. We've always got too many people, but there's weeks where we rock up and I've had weeks where it's literally just been me and Wayne's running a bit late. And you're like, how's this going to happen? And all the guys just from the community come like, oh, you need a hand? They jump on and they're slicing onions and getting involved.
Beautiful.
So it's awesome event. So, But also, T-shirts are coming. We've been playing with some designs. We've actually been playing with some designs.
Just yesterday,
Wayne hasn't approved any of mine. Apparently they're all too rude.
They definitely need to be.
Yep. But I'll still make some. So, maybe we'll start a different website for that. But guys, jump on here. There are other AJ's merch available. So we got mugs, we got coffee, we got mugs, we got T-shirts,
shirts, hoodies, hats.
Yep, you can get the shirts we got on right now. There's new ones coming, but we still want to get rid of the old ones, right?
That's good. Well, what Mike's saying there, we do have some shirts specifically being made for the Feed the Homeless thing, where all proceeds will go towards Feed the Homeless. And I said to Mike yesterday, actually, I worked out just some rough figures, but in the 3 years that we've been doing this, we've given out just over 18,000 free meals to those doing it tough.
Wow.
Which is incredible, man.
That's amazing.
And it all started from you and I having a coffee one morning going,
There you go.
You know what, man, people are doing it tough. Let's
Do you know what? Next time my wife calls me an arsehole, I'm going to be like, hey, listen, man. 18,000 meals tells you you're wrong.
You can't argue with that. You can't argue with that.
You can't, man. 18,000 is a big number. Really good. Well, guys, over to the
18,000. I'm giving away more meals than you've made for me.
God, you're
she actually loves me, mate. I'm just messing around.
Treading on thin ice tonight, I think. Okay, guys, sticking with you out and about real quick. Just the guys that for our meetups. Meetups are going really, really well. Guys, look, like I said, hit up the website to see all our meetups are. They go for an hour a week. It's all about being accountable and becoming better men. It's a whole agenda. So far, we're in Budgerong, Brightwater, Mooloolaba, Bribie Island, Albany Creek, Pakistan, and a couple of guys in Kenya, which is great. So, guys, look, hit up the website, find out where all the locations are. You're more than welcome to come along. I had a couple of guys email through this week saying, is it like a joining fee or what do I do to come along? You just rock up. We always say, look for the shirts, look for the AJ shirts. Sit down, get introduced, and be a part of what we're doing out there with these meetups. Awesome. Righto, guys, we are over to the main topic. Today we've got a bloke who most of Australia would know, but not like this. He was the kid guitar prodigy who lit up our TV screens in the 1990s on every family's favourite Hey Hate Saturday TV show, and then our concert stages. He's jammed with B.B. King, Tom Emanuel, Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits, an amazing band, just to name a few. He signed with Michael Jackson's label, was playing to packed crowds before he and us even finished primary school. But behind the spotlight was a storm. Diagnosed with leukaemia at age 6, early push into fame, very young due to many appearances on TV, just growing up. Burnout, separation, anxiety, panic attacks, one even resulting in collapsing mid-set at a Queensland music festival. All these were contributing factors of carrying the heavy weight of being what Australia saw as the gifted one. And yet, he's still here, still rocking the stages, and he's here with us live in the studio, sharper, wiser, rebuilt into the legend we have before us today. So look, he's not just a musician. He's a man who's walked through the fire, stripped back the noise, and found his way back to peace, purpose, and passion. We're sitting down with not the child prodigy, not the headline act, but the human being himself, the all-round good bloke, Mr. Nathan Cavaleri.
Whoa, what an intro, bro.
Was that good? I tried really hard.
That was great, but I'm like, whoa.
That was a lot of copy and paste. And
Yeah, no, it's good.
Try this again. Really, mate, I genuinely mean this, mate.
Chad, what do I say?
No, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
I said to you when we first started, it was a couple of weeks ago when I was flicking through TikTok and saw your face, and then scrolled up and went, hang on, I know that face. I recognise it from somewhere. Then saw your name, and it was a blast from the past. I'm like, wow, like you literally were. And I said to this guy yesterday as a joke, you were. I remember I would have been close to, I reckon, 9 or 10 when I first come across you on Hey when I first saw you, and you were like, we'd go to school the next day, and every young boy wanted to be you. And every young girl wanted to be with you. Just like you were the kid of like the nice.
If I knew that back then. All right.
So I've had to lock my wife out. Stay out.
The perception is just so different, based on, who you are in that. Like, I just never would have thought that at all. Quite the opposite.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, mate. It was like, I mean, look, Hey Saturday was a massive show.
Yeah.
Was every Australian family watched it on a Saturday night. It took up our TV screens right across Australia. And you were very, very quickly put there as you were, everyone knew who you were. And still now, like your audience there, you're out there still doing gigs and being a part of the music, the blues more, sticking with the blues, your genre, like that's what you're...
Yeah, I kind of sit a little bit out of it. Like I was probably more traditional when I was younger, but I felt like I needed to branch out just that little bit more because I had so many other things that I wanted to express that didn't fit into the box of blues. But it's still very much, the roots of what I do. Yeah.
Mate, take us. I want to start with the you before you were introduced to us all in the 90s. You were this amazing kid on the guitar that took a hard-hitting diagnosis of leukemia at such a young age. Take us back to that kid. Who was Nathan before, and then into that when you got announced? I was living a suburban life, burning around on my BMX bike, and my dad's a brickie. And Mum ran a coffee shop, and I used to do a little bit of busking out front of Mum's coffee shop, which we later worked out there was a brothel upstairs. Which really annoyed the clientele because no longer was it a really discreet entrance because some kids out the front drawing in a crowd, right, where they had to walk up the steps. So anyway, that's a different conversation.
Can you slow the beat down on?
And then obviously things took a turn when I was diagnosed with leukemia, but I always loved guitar. I'd say there's two or three things that got me into guitar, and that was watching my dad play around the house. Just a passionate hobbyist guitar player. Marty McFly at the end of the Back to the Future kind of did it for me as well. And,
without a doubt.
And watching Martin Knopfler like Dire Straits, and so I learned enough skills to be able to express myself through those tough years when I had leukemia. When I reflect on that, that's my first real experience of learning how to digest emotions. Sometimes words just are not enough. And I was always like a physical kid as well. Like I had temper issues right into my mid-20s. So anger was a big thing. And then also fear. Fear didn't really come into it until much later in life. I felt like that was as a result of, I'm jumping around here, as a result of suppressing anger. It's like anger, everything was outward, emotion outward, and then when you start to realize the amount of destruction that's causing, and nobody really teaches you how to actually properly digest anger, then it's just inward. And then when it's inward, it turns into fear and anxiety, and that's the theory that I have anyway. But while I had leukemia, I'd just play my guitar, and that'd take my mind off it and channel as whatever feelings I had, and. But it was a dark time. There's a lot of trauma that came from that experience that there was a lot of latency. I didn't really kind of know that was in my system still until much later in life when I was going through mental health challenges. So, but incredible beacons, when people say, damn, man, like, you did all that touring while you were treated for leukemia. Like if you saw me on Hey at Adelaide, I was generally going through a treatment of some kind up until about 12 years old. But it was like, no, that gave me a reason. Like every performance, everything that, I was working towards practicing, anything to do with music gave me a reason to fight and push through whatever shit I had to deal with in the hospital. So it was a beacon alongside my family as well. They were incredible. So big, really close family unit.
How was it announced to you? Parents pull your side, doctor pull your side. You're 6 years old.
It kicked off when I was at my auntie's place. I remember having these really excruciating pains in my spine that then spread until I couldn't really breathe, and they took me in an ambulance to the hospital, and it took them a couple nights to get that diagnosis. And I don't really remember the actual. I think it was just a conversation. You have leukemia. But as a kid, as a 6-year-old, you don't really know what that means. I mean, I think that means like a flu or like just any other sickness. That's all you know. You just you associate it with what you already know. But it's not until you see how you live out those changes, how things change dramatically, that you realize it's much bigger than that. But they kept me in the dark when it was about, when it was threatening, my life, like that concept. I didn't know that I was fighting for my life. I'm glad that they didn't tell me.
Wow.
Because I think I would have gotten, way up in my head about it. And, I truly believe that the mind has, influences the body, in all sorts of ways that probably haven't been proven. And so they did their best to keep me a kid, and but there was just some traumas that were unavoidable throughout that treatment.
Are you grateful that your parents didn't tell you the possible extent? Really?
Yeah, I am. I think that's really important. Mum particularly was positive mindset was a real thing for her, and way before, it's a buzzword, nowadays, and it's pretty, common knowledge. But she knew that the having a positive mind has its own healing powers as well. So it was coming at it from both angles. And even for herself, making sure that there were positive energies around me, encouraging energies, and so, talking about death was the opposite of that. Having said that, I realised much later in life that I had much healthier spiritual beliefs about death than what I did as an adult. I kind of, as you get older and everything, I faced a lot of darkness that was related to a realisation about mortality that freaked me out and caused a lot of anxiety until I remember staring out the stars one day and I remember staring at these stars when I was a kid, when I actually was fighting for my life. I didn't know I was, but still I used to contemplate, like, I wonder, where do we come from, where we're going to go, whatever. And I had a healthy belief. I had almost a magical one, and therefore no anxiety about mortality. Here I am as an adult. I have anxiety about mortality, so, and I'd allowed science to dictate my spiritual beliefs. I'm like, that's garbage. So I need to cultivate a certain sense of faith, because nobody really knows. So I might as well choose something to believe in that's going to make my life, my living day better, rather than just blackness every time I think about it. And so, yeah, I had a good belief system back then.
Can I ask you comparing what you believed at 6 to what you believe now, like what do you believe now, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, it doesn't really sit in a, it's not religious by any means. It's probably more like the idea that there's the body and then there's the soul. The soul lives forever in ways that I can't comprehend, that this brain couldn't comprehend, and the body is a vessel, and I think that's as far as it goes. But I think what brings me a lot of comfort is that as the world that I understood at 21 years old, and I thought I had it all figured out, and then all of a sudden the world goes, what? And then you got to learn stuff all over it again, right? And then then it's almost like your eyes are open, And I'm like, oh, okay. So there's all these changes that you go through in life that, to me, reveal all these things. All these mysteries get revealed. So I just have a certain faith. It's like, well, when that time comes, like, why am I choosing to believe that the unknown is a bad thing? Because every single day there are these little bits of unknowns, and sometimes they're big unknowns that reveal themselves to be good things. Not bad. Sometimes they're challenging. So why would I assume that the great unknown is going to be a bad thing? And that gives me comfort.
Well, you mentioned before about struggling with temper and stuff like that, which is something that's really, like, I believe that kids need to be shown and taught how to process their emotions properly. Like, anyone who meets my son, I'm so proud of him. You know what I mean? I couldn't ask for a better son. But everyone sees him and goes, oh, he's such a good kid. Do you know what I mean? But he does have bursts of anger and all the rest of it. Now, for him to live in that good kid persona, he tries to hide that. And it's one thing that I'm really trying to do is push that out of him and going, no, actually express how you're feeling. You know what I mean? Could you – so you mentioned that that's something you struggle with and it took a long time. If you could do it over again, what would be some of the things you wish you learnt earlier?
Yeah, see, my dad had a hellish temper, a really bad temper, a very destructive one. Not like he hit mum or anything like that, but growing up, it was there were a lot of outbursts, sudden outbursts and stuff, and I inherited that. I had that same blood. My brother is cool as a cucumber, Mr. Logical, and I go to him. He helps me ground, when I'm swept up, And what I would probably say is I see all emotions as just energy, and we all express them in different ways. The challenging thing about anger, like when you've got a temper as well, is it's people are so hard on people who have a temper because it's outwardly destructive. But they will give compassion to somebody who's beaten themselves up when it's going inside. But if somebody is seeing black and it's outward, boom, judged straight away, sit in a naughty corner, and and that's that. I don't think that's fair at all. I understand why it's like that, but it's I think just any intense sensation, emotion. I wish that I was taught how to not to just push it down and go, hey, you can't talk to somebody like that, or you can't, and that's true. Okay, well, now what do I do with that information? It's like that first step was important, but there are a series of other steps to keep myself healthy as well that were not taught to me. And I'm not blaming my parents. They didn't even know. My dad didn't even know, So, and I'm only really realizing this since having boys, like my eldest has that temper as well. I remember I've got a song on my album Miracles called My Boys, and one of the lines in it is don't blame him for his fists. Like that you want to when you give your kids out into the world, their first day of school, whatever, you just hope that the world accepts them for who they are and supports them, working outwards from what their natural being is. And if they, in Byron's case, he has a temper, and I just hope that people don't judge him and they're not too hard on him for that, and they help him with it, So it's all just energy that needs processing, and there are lots of safe and ways to do it. I think mindfulness is a really important thing as well, because a lot of the time that anger, it doesn't, even though it can seem like boom, gone from 0 to 100, there's a series of steps that happen before it, and it's about catching it early,
Yeah, I think
before it gets there. But once you're tripped, you got to do something with that physical energy. You got to go punch a punching bag. Like if that's what you feel, you go for a run or whatever. Unprocessed anger, it causes troubles, big troubles.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really good point where, as you said, the pushing it down, I think that's where it takes it to that level where it is over the top. You know what I mean? Where, if they learn how to process the small things, it doesn't add up to the stage where they are about to explode.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of the time with society who is, as you said, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're not supposed to feel this way, you're not supposed to do these things. I think what happens is that they feel bad about themselves, they hold it, they hide it, all the rest of it, which only in one time can actually come out in a negative way, rather than them actually learning how to express themselves on the things that frustrate them properly. You know?
Yeah, and I think that demonization, there are a lot of people out there that will take advantage of that as well. You know, like I've been in a relationship before many years ago where you know, she knew I had that, but would deliberately, you know, before I understood how to handle myself, you know, just waiting, just deliberately wanting to see me explode, you know, and it's it's a tough one, that one. Yeah.
You mentioned before, I didn't ask about your family leading into this, mate. I'm sorry about that, but you mentioned before you had a brother. What is, when fame gets handed to you at such a young age, which it did, one, I want to ask this in two ways. One, what effects does fame handed to a young kid do to the kid? But what does it do to the siblings of a kid as well? Do they feel like they're on the outer?
My parents said that if we're going to do this, we've got to do it together. There was no like, you know, my brother Josh stays at home with mum, and then, you know, the family was never split up. The only time the family was split up was when Dad took me, we had to do a gig up in Cairns, which is the first time I signed a pair of boobs. So,
Go, Dad.
At 6 years old.
Yeah, no, at 6 years old. I was 14 though, but anyway, that wouldn't happen nowadays. So and that was the only time, the last time that But anyway, the family always stuck together.
So it's the women from Cairns, right?
Those Cairns women, mate, I tell you. That's why we avoid Cairns.
And because we all wanted, like, they knew how important it was for all of us to come back to the dinner table and be able to, you know, talk about, you know, to share all those memories. You know, like, still to this day, we've got all these memories that we can, you know, that we've got in common. This epic stuff that's happened to all of us from different perspectives. You know, and I think my brother, you know, he was never an extrovert. I don't know whether I'm an extrovert or an extroverted or whatever, but as far as being an observer, I think learning that is why he is so amazing, you know, because he really sees things. He sees the whole picture. He's had to worked that muscle so young. What does fame do to you when you're that young? Well, I think, I mean, for me, it was just normal life, so I didn't really question it. But if I was to look back at it, I struggled with where I felt disconnected from my community. So, and this is a misconception of fame. It seems like this person has all this attention, therefore they are at the center of the community. The more famous somebody gets, the less they can relate to their community, and that's where the disconnection happens. Wow. So when I was in year 5 and I was going through leukaemia, I had this terrible teacher, and she used to go out of her way to humiliate me, to put me down. She was caught binning all of the student votes, you know, for captain and stuff like that. One of the other teachers walked in on her, and she's literally binning all of my votes. And her justification was, he's got enough attention. But in that school, I was going through leukemia. That's you know, insane. Like I was battling kids flipping off my hat, you know, because I had no hair, and well, that was probably a couple of years before, but still, I didn't have all the confidence in the world, and I really wanted to relate to my you know, my mates there, and fame was pulling me away. So I really needed to feel accepted in that community. She didn't get it. I think a bit of
Tall Poppy,
yeah, probably, and that trajectory kind of, that's how I kind of went into high school. I had those issues as well. There was it's funny. It's like I actually had more issues with the adults, and the adults were the ones that ended up corrupting the kids, eventually, because the kids at school had, in primary school had no problems with me other than the odd, wombat that had, teased me for my hair or whatever. But most of the time they were encouraging, and we're all encouraging of each other. But it wasn't long before some of them started to see me through this teacher's eyes, because she ended up also being quite, having high status in the school. And then that, carried into high school. But, I also learned, this is probably where my temper helped me. I learned how to, I always stood up for myself. So I never associated with that label being bullied or anything like that. They were hard times, especially high school. Everyone's a rat bag in year 9. Hey, year 9.
Year 9 is the
year.
Year
8, year 9.
100%. Yeah.
Fuckers.
Yeah, year 9 is the year, man.
Yeah. And it's like, come on, especially boys, and you stink. You're like, at least be a good bloke. You got nothing going for you. All the proportions are out of whack. Your head's bigger than the rest of your body.
One black hair this way.
Yeah. But I think, going through all that crap was probably how I developed a confidence that didn't depend on what people thought of me. It's sad that I had to go through it, but eventually I learned to just accept and back myself, even if I wasn't like, them, and just, I am who I am, and people are either going to like it or they're going to hate it, and whatever. You just got to keep being you.
It's a sad thing. Instead of there's so many things about what you just said there. I'm trying to or tying together. But the school teacher, that how you said the effect all is coming from the older people more than the younger people.
Yeah.
It's as if the younger people accepting you for who you were, but the ones with the problem were the ones that in our lives as kids growing up, they're the ones that we go to get guidance, and the ones we trust, the ones we have, we expect to have that sense of safety and all that kind of stuff. Yet they were the ones, he's saying, were the hardest on you.
Yeah, and I think that's
incredible.
Yeah, and it so kind of makes sense, because it's you watch it as kids evolve or whatever. They're learning from their parents. They're learning from their older siblings or whatever, and not everybody is going to be grounded and giving their kids good advice. And you put that in the schoolyard, and then you mix that with insecurities and all that type of stuff. Then it wasn't until Australian Story was released that one of the top dogs in rugby league, because it was a rugby league school. I don't know why the fuck my parents sent me to a rugby league school, but they did. And
on behalf.
Yeah. It's a
little hooker. Hey,
totally. And but he's like, mate, you weren't alone. And I'm like, what do you mean? You were the king, like. And he's like, nah, man, I had the same experience as you. I got the shit kicked out of me first day of school, because everyone's like, you're going to be the big shot footy guy. And I'm like, what? I thought, so I took it personally. When a lot of people in different ways, it's just like, it's there. If you're good, you're successful, or you're kicking ass at something, there's going to be people you're going to rub them up the wrong way, and that's just how it is, unfortunately.
It's a sad reality, mate. We mentioned this a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, saying that it's not so much that society doesn't want you to do good; they just don't want you to do better than them.
Yeah,
and that's the problem that people seem to have. Why can't we go, mate? Hats off to you. You've done really well. Well done. But we don't.
No, because I was thinking about this after I did that post on social media, and obviously it resonated with a lot of people because it just went bonkers. Is generalizing, I reckon it's got something to do with your own belief system. So when I look at somebody doing well and they go, dude, on YouTube, I'm averaging $5,000 a month or whatever. I think because I have faith and I believe in my own path of success in whatever it is I want to achieve, or I'm supposed to achieve that I don't know, or whatever it is, I'm inspired by that. I get inspired. I'm like, God, you're a human, man. Like there's not like, if you can do that, then I can do my version of that. So that's it. But I imagine that the ones that don't have that healthy belief systems about themselves, they're just like, they don't feel like they can have their own version of success. So when somebody has that in front of them, it's like it's rubbing it in their face. Yeah, fucking, Can I swear?
Of course you can.
Yeah, right.
Sorry, children.
Yeah. So I reckon it's a reflection of their own belief systems in themselves. That's my theory, anyway.
So sticking along the line of success, then, real quick, when you're handed at such a young age this, you signed with Michael Jackson, you start playing alongside some of the biggest names in the industry with music, and all of a sudden you're so young and it's handed to you. Was there a certain style or certain type of successful journey that was kind of sold to you in a way that this is what's going to happen, mate, get ready for this? Was there a certain type of that you were just sold to that hasn't come true, or that you felt was more of a lie to you, or something?
Oh, good question. I've never been asked that. So like none of this was engineered. Like it just kind of happened from meeting Martin Offler, thanks to the Starlight Foundation. Then the media covered it. And then I'm on tour with Jimmy and Diesel. And then I meet a guy at the end of that who brings me to the States. Then that's when BB King and all this, stuff happens over there. And I think I was never really sold anything. But one thing I probably believed is that I felt like the trajectory would just continue. Or I didn't think it'd plummet. I thought, cool, I've got good roots and I've, got it made. So all I need to do is keep doing it. I did take a huge break, which probably didn't help. But I think I didn't. I was probably very disappointed when I decided to get back out there. That I was like, shit, it really feels like I'm starting all over again. And but then also at the same time, I didn't expect people to be following me. Like I just thought, okay, well, why would people buy tickets or whatever? You haven't been around for 10 years. Like it's going to take time for people to understand what you're about, what you do, and and that's cool. I think where I really got tripped up, just bad advice, was like in the early noughties. I have industry people that I looked up to saying, man, throw away the guitar. Forget that. That's not helping you. Get rid of it. And that's not the thing anymore. You got to do this. I had somebody else say, you'll never sing your own songs. Just stop singing. And this was also another person I looked up to. That's one that it didn't take me much before I'm like, screw you, I'm picking up my guitar. But it did.
I want to kill that John Farnham.
But he's. I think it did have it did make me not so proud about being a guitar player. When I'm out there now, I'm confident and proud of what I do. I know it's not for everybody. That's cool. But back then, if you watch footage of me when I was really young, and I'm firing. Like I'm out there and I'm putting everything, every bit of heart is in my guitar. But then in my late teens, I'm like this because I was told that it's something to be embarrassed by.
Wow.
And then also the vocal insecurities. I probably wasn't that great at that time, but I needed encouraging forces. And so still, 10 years later, when I did find my voice, I had real hard troubles letting go of that advice that I was given to not sing my own songs. It took so many singers around me, amazing singers, one of them being Diesel, to go, dude, you can sing your songs, man. And I did it, and I'm grateful I did. That's probably the worst advice. Yeah.
You mentioned a plummet, and you mentioned, was it a 10-year break that you took? Is what you said?
Well, I kind of finished using my name around about 16 years old, and then I finished school. I ended up a brickies labourer for a while, and then just started producing up local bands. So now here I am. I'm somebody who's embarrassed about being a guitar player. Silver lining is it got me working on other skills. Songwriting, producing, mixing, singing, like all that stuff is now what I use now to express myself. I'm grateful for that. Not sure I would have developed those skills if I just kept being the guitar player, you know. And then I experimented with a couple of bands because I was still embarrassed by my name. You know, all those, the minority made me feel like the majority of people, you know, thought, oh, it's just some cheesy little kid or whatever. So I never wanted to use my name. And I didn't use my name until I was, I don't know, probably in my mid-30s at least.
Really?
Yeah, I was hiding behind a band name until one day Ash Gromwell actually and the doctor from Friends of Rom, they're like, Ash was like, I love your band, but why the hell are you not using your name? I mean, he's a guy who I'm like, this guy's cool. Like, I love Ash, I love Lindsay, I love, you know, and I'm like, and I shared openly what I felt. And he's like, man, you have it all wrong. Artists would kill to have the credibility that's attached to your name and will probably go through their whole lives and never experience that. You got to use your name. And that's what made me, at the time my band broke up. And then when I went through this big dark period for about 5 years and decided I was in a healthy state to get back out there, I really thought, do I want another band name? Or do I want to use my name? And then I was like, all right, I'm going to back what they say, see what happens. So
I actually think that's really good advice, man. I think it's like one of those moments I think every man needs to come to, which is more of a like a who am I or who are you kind of moment. Like when you ask yourself, wait a minute, who the hell am I? I am, you know, for me, I'm Wayne Taylor. It's who I am. Yeah. And for yourself, like, wait a minute, who the hell am I? I am Nathan Cavaleri, stuff this, stuff the world. I think every man needs to actually go through a moment like that where they stop and go, wait a minute, I know who I am. Who the hell am I? This is who I am. And I think it's a real grounding moment.
It is. And I remember listening to a writer on a podcast talk, and this was just her talking about how she writes. And she's like, you got to write to please you. Like, you got to write and be authentic, right? And you will then attract people who align with that, you know, like, and it's the same thing as being yourself. It's like you got to be you, and you'll naturally attract people who align with all that, you know. Complementary doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be exactly like you, just whether they're complementary, they're opposites or whatever, but it's like.
Absolutely.
I think an important point there is your friend said to you, said, you have the credibility, which probably reminded you of all the things that you've done in the past that was you. You know what I mean? You're still the same person, still inside you.
Yeah.
And I think that for the average Joe out there, it's important for them to remember as well is that there's so many great things that people do over their life, and they just let one period of their life determine who they are, and they totally forget about all the great things that they've achieved.
Absolutely.
Prior to that.
And sometimes when you've hit that rock bottom and you got to work your way up, it's important to remind yourself of that there is more to you than that shit period, right? That's cool. But also you can't allow your past successes to belittle these baby steps that you're taking, you know, because I can't tell you how many times when I was getting out of that dark period where I'd beat myself up because I'm like, man, I used to pull 1,000 people at my gigs. Now I'm playing in front of 60 or whatever, and I'd be grateful for it. Every single person that's taken their time to come to my gig, but there's this thing in the background that I didn't feel like it was a victory. And until one day I realized I was allowing my past successes to belittle what I'm doing now. And same thing with your future. You know, you might have these big goals. You never let your big goals belittle the progress that you're making.
That's good.
You know, you gotta appreciate every single achievement, you know, for what it is.
And another good point with that, an old mentor of mine used to say, he was like, the thing that used to stop me from growing was that I used to compare my worst attributes to someone else's best attributes.
Oh, yes.
That's a good thought.
Rather than actually going, if I compared my best attributes to their worst, you know, so that was something that really he was having as a block where you would look around and go, oh, they're amazing at that, and I'm not that great at that yet.
I love this. That's very timely because you've just reminded me of a drummer that was playing with me last year, and we were on our way to a gig that didn't pull many heads, and I was kind of just bummed out and taking it a bit personally. And he's like, "Bro, don't take it personally." And then he, and I won't mention the band name, but he said, "Man, I ran into XY guys, and these guys pulled, they'll headline a festival at their own gigs. They'll pull 1,000+ people, and they rocked up and they were playing to 40. Nobody knows those stories. People don't talk enough about their failures, when things are crap. So, and that's what happens, is that I'll compare the worst to what I think is a baseline that all these other artists out there are achieving, and it's not. Whether you're the Teskey brothers or whether you're Diesel or Jimmy or whatever, they still have their shows that are a disaster. They happen.
You've just described social media, mate.
Yeah, true. It's the highlight reel, isn't it? Yeah.
Mate, when you're telling your story there, it kind of sounds like a cautionary tale of listening to the wrong person or the wrong people. Like, as a young guy, there's going to be young guys out there and even middle-aged guys, how do you actually tell who to listen to? How do you know? If you haven't gone through the taking the wrong advice and learning the hard way, how do you pick it?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky that I had great parents that they were very intuitive. They didn't know the music industry. There was a bit of luck there. We fell into the hands of Jimmy and Diesel and their crew, and they were all, ethics, and family orientated, good people, taught us the ways, and so we were lucky. But we still came across the sharks. I remember Mum and Dad having. They really wanted to make sure that whatever I did was authentic and it had a certain amount of credibility, except for the movie Pause. I don't know why I was in Pause for, but or Baywatch. So I don't know what happened there.
No, tell us this.
I've watched every episode of Baywatch. I did not see it.
No, Baywatch. That's because I was in there. I was in the spin-off. The spin-off, yeah, the Baywatch Nights, which is what the way that the Hoff said it to me, and because we're like, what's Baywatch Nights? He goes, I want to tell you what Baywatch Nights is about. It's basically when the lifeguards are not saving lives during the day, they're fighting crime at night. That was the pitch, and then my manager goes, done. And then I was featured in an episode, and it was great experience, me and the Hoff. And
the Hoff, wow.
but on the overall, it was about credibility. And I remember because I was signed to Michael Jackson's label. Michael invited me to play Black and White with him for an HBO special in New York.
Wow!
But my parents were not into it. All right, and this is a big call, right? And I remember Mum and Dad having some reserved feelings about it and expressed it to my manager at the time, and my manager's like, this is going to be huge exposure. What they believed is whether it's huge exposure or not, he's doing something that is not him. Like, I love the blues, it's about feeling, it's about emotion, all that type of stuff. Michael had me up there running around like I was Macaulay Culkin, jumping in front of amps and all that type of stuff. I wasn't showcasing who I was. So what's the point in all that exposure if I'm doing something that's not me, and
that's incredible.
But anyway, so we did, but my parents were like, let's just, we'll see. I mean, how can you say no, right? We do the dress rehearsal right up until a couple of rehearsals, then the dress rehearsal at the venue, and Michael's there and I'm here. And we're finishing off Black and White, and he passes out right next to me, out cold. And I thought it was part of the show, and it wasn't. Security came, pushed me out of the way, took him away on a stretcher. Show got cancelled, and we're all devastated about it. And but not long after, BB King invited me to tour with him around America. Later, we found out, managers talking, when my manager shared that story, and BB King's manager's like, BB King wouldn't have had you up here on stage if he saw you doing that with Michael.
Wow.
Because that's not his vibe, you know. So isn't that wild?
That's incredible. We actually did a podcast last week touching on like men finding themselves and gaining, like sticking with their identity, like finding your identity and being who you are, the real you. I think that's an amazing story right there. The fact that your parents had the wisdom enough to go, hang on a minute, but this is, because in reality, it could have been, the exposure could have been great, but it could have also been detrimental to having you be someone that's not you. Like that could have formed some kind of pattern in your brain to go, act
totally
out of character, act out of who you are, and be prepared to be what the world wants you to be and not who you are.
Yeah, that eats
That's
us
up to your
up.
parents, man. That's
Yeah,
incredible
for sure.
advice.
And you would never be able to update people's perception of you with that type of exposure. I mean, it's hard enough for me now to update people, you know, so that all they see is that 12-year-old kid. I mean, still, like, I'm like 43 years old, and so.
I thought you were 13.
Well, they kept introducing me as 8 years old for like 5-6 years. I've got pubes. I'm not 8.
He's Greek.
I've got 5 of them.
You could be 7 then. That's I'm still stuck with that. I think that's a great move by your parents, and what a testament to BB King's character is to go, I appreciate and I value that kid, whether it was your own decision or your parents' decision, but for someone like BB King to go, I appreciate the fact that by choice this guy, look, he stuck to his true value. Although the show got cancelled, which is, I guess, in hindsight, you know, call it the stars aligning, call it the universe doing its thing, call it God, whatever you want to call it. But the fact that statement was made by someone like BB King to go, well, this has caused him to stay to his true core, and that's what I value. And I think it's one of those values that I think gets thrown around so flippantly around the world, is that we seem to value whatever is fast moving or whatever the flavour of the month is, or whatever's appealing to us, whatever tastes good at the time. But in reality, it's the true core, the true identity, the who are you really, and that I think is where the most value lies and where it should be most appreciated. Yeah, people operating in their who they are.
Yeah,
we have that with the podcast, mate. We have these conversations
all the time.
What do you do? How do you get more likes? Do we want to get likes, or do we want to do something that's true? It's
you would experience that. I mean, I experience that with social media, and it drives me nuts. But so I stream twice a week on Twitch and TikTok now, and I've been streaming on Twitch for 5 years, and I've just started streaming on TikTok as well. And what I've learned, there's just something that happens. I don't know what it is, but when you are beaming and you are true to yourself and you are just beaming, the results, they happen. Mm-hmm. They just do. There's like a flow, there's a magnetism, there's something that happens. Mm-hmm. Whenever I'm trying and I'm grinding, I'm trying to do something, it's just whatever, it just doesn't work. So I think back to that belief system, you have to believe that the true you has the ability to achieve what you want, but sometimes it might not be exactly what you had in mind. Sometimes it might be just over here. Like, look at Johnny Depp, who always wanted to be a musician, and just because he went with the flow of life, he scored 21 Jump Street, and then boom, one of the biggest actors we have. So,
yeah, I think with that questioning yourself and the integrity and all the rest of it, I think that is one of the biggest struggles that men face, because so many men out there have that pleasing personality where, they want to make their parents happy. They want to make their friends happy. They want to make their partners happy, all that sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden they have that mindset where they're like, who am I? Is this actually me? And that's where it can cause that fear, the worry, the doubt, all that sort of stuff. So a lot of the time that can be the start of like that downward spiral or all the things that's happening. So, and if you are out there and you're not sure who you actually are, you can make a decision on who you are, and you can test that out.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
And I reckon you got to stop enough in life to just check in with yourself. I still, like I said earlier, it's like if you just on to the next thing, you won't even know until one day go, who the hell am I? Like, how did I drift so far? Like every single day, just a simple check-in. is really important. Make sure, is this me? Is this sitting in my gut, right? Or am I just working against the grain here and being somebody I'm not? Doesn't mean you still have to eat a shit sandwich every now and then. It doesn't mean like you will like everything that you're doing, but sometimes just at least recognizing that that's part of a process. Yeah.
That time when you collapsed on stage, was that the start of what you were calling like this spiral or this gap, or was that the start? Was it midway? Was it comeback? Where does this fit?
That was one of the lowest points. Like from when I was about 24 or 25, because I never had anxiety. And then around 24 or 25, I was losing a lot of loved ones. I had a couple that died of cancer, and two of my mentors, my martial arts teacher, he took his life. A sound engineer that mentored me, he took his life. A lot of death. My grandparents died, and I just remember sitting at a set of lights going, like, and I think this may be a bit of latency from going through it when I was a kid. I'm like, one day my time is going to be up. And I just remember just feeling boom out of my body straight away. I felt like I was going loony. And afterwards I started to experience this weird sensation in just different environments. Like, could be just having a meal with a mate at a pub, could be sitting in the car, could be in a session. And then bit by bit, I started to avoid the areas, if I could, that triggered this sensation, because nobody taught me how to deal with it. Nobody showed me what was going on. I didn't know it was anxiety. I thought I'm going nuts. So, and I just suppress it, try to outrun it. Until my world just became that small where even going out of the house was an ordeal. Just the simplest thing. I remember having an episode where I woke up in the morning, I had to be interviewed. I was still trying to tour like this, like just even getting into the tour bus. I'm having anxiety attacks and not knowing what's going on with me. And, having an anxiety attack over whether I should brush my teeth before or after having a shower. It sounds fucking hilarious now, but it was just even the simplest things. It felt like my brain was just mushed. And then I'd have to be up on stage performing. And also I wasn't sleeping because I was so anxious all the time. I was terrified of sleep because I was so swept up in my mind. I was terrified that I wouldn't wake up or whatever, so I'd just stay awake. And so I remember about a year or two into trying to tour like that, I was playing this festival. It was 40 degrees. I wasn't eating very, very much. It was going through me. And I did what I normally did, and I pushed myself up there. Let's go. 1,000+ people there. And actually, for the most part, the gig went okay. But then the second last song, I hit a big note, and then I felt just the world spin, and then I kind of just dropped. And I came to, and I couldn't really make anything out. On the outside, everyone's probably like, wow, that's rock and roll, man. But it sucked. It was terrifying. I walked off stage because I just wanted to run. Fight or flight was just there. And I looked out at the crowd just from side of stage. I have to finish the show. Like, I have to do this. No support, no tour manager, no nothing. Nobody to help me at all. So I just throw myself back up there, and I do my best to fumble through the rest of the set. I get off stage, glad that's done. And then I've completely forgot that in 2 hours' time, I had to go to main stage and do another 1.5 hour set. I hadn't eaten for 2 days. I could barely hold any water in me. I was so depleted. And then I flipped. I ran back to the accommodation. I locked myself in my room. People trying to get me out. Nobody giving me any advice on how to handle it. And I don't know how. I got up, I did the gig, but I lost my peace. My relationship with the stage, the one that was my special place when I was sick as a kid, was shattered. Every single gig after that terrified me. And until I couldn't gig anymore, and I stopped. So I stopped for 5 years. Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
What was the start of the rebuild?
It was it's walking out of the doctor's surgery, the fifth doctor's appointment that I had, the GP. They all just wanted to put me on pills, and
Doesn't sound like them. They
Yeah.
get paid by that at all, do they?
Not our health system? Cool, surely not.
and you know, like, I don't demonize mainstream medicine. I'm alive because of mainstream medicine, like, you know, fighting cancer and stuff. But they weren't much help when it came to mental health stuff. So I just kept saying, why am I feeling like this? Like, why am I, you know, I was explaining there's something not right. They do all the blood tests, nothing. Come back. So 2 years of me trying to get answers. And I remember my ex at the time, I remember she was waiting for me in the car and she said, so how are your bloods? Like, I was wanting an answer. Like, tell me I've got something so we can fight it. And I said they were perfect. And it was the worst day of my life because I was like, I can't, this is 5 years of this. I can't live like this. I can't live like this. And because everything on paper, my life, you put that on paper, like, this guy's having an amazing life. What has he got to be depressed about or anxious about? You know, it's fear, and a corrupt relationship with fear and anxiety in your inner world has nothing to do with what you've achieved and what you've been through in life. This is an inner world issue, right? And then they all they had for me was a prescription, and I just, my gut, I don't know why, but my gut just went, nah, I got to find the cause of this because I wasn't born like this. And they're saying it's a genetic thing without any even tests that say it. They want me on these pills forever. That's literally what they said. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. So I walk out, and that was the first step into rediscovery. I called a clinical nutritionist. The number was just sitting on my in my console from a life coach that I had seen 2 years ago, and I don't know, that name was there and the number, and I was like, stuff it, because I remember going, that's not going to do anything, you know. I'd like, and in that moment I thought, well, everything that I thought was going to work didn't work. I need to be trying things that maybe I think are not going to work. Like, I should try everything for a year. If there's no progress, then I'll take the pills. That's the deal I gave me. I called her. She said, send me the bloods. So I sent all of the bloods that the doctors took of me. She calls me back and she went, my God, your body is working against you. There's so much that we can do here. And that she was like an angel, because I was dangerously low on hope. And so that was the first step of the rebuild. I worked with a clinical nutritionist and an integrative medicine doctor to help my body, build my body back up again. And then I found a really awesome psychologist. I had to go through a couple that helped me work on my mind. And then the rest was just life, listening to amazing podcasts like this. You know, I remember listening to the Tim Ferriss podcast back in the day, and that, I got so much out of that. Then Tara Brach's podcast and reading books, and I remember watching a big Fighting Fear, the Bra Boys documentary with Mark Matthews, and and also the Tom Carroll one, Storm Surfers or whatever it's called, and I remember going, these guys are not fearless. Like, I thought there was something wrong with me because I have so much fear, and it's what they do with fear. It's their relationship with fear. And that's when I thought, man, this is not an issue of anxiety. This has got to do with my unhealthy relationship with fear. That's what I need to go to work on. And that's been my project ever since, you know, just like, we have an understanding of sadness. There's all these emotions that we will feel, but a lot of us won't feel fear. And I truly believe that, and I remember doctors saying this, that anxiety is a stress response to fear. Don't try and solve anxiety, work on your relationship with fear. Yeah.
That is interesting. I've not looked at that before ever.
Yeah.
Well, when you think about that, like, it actually makes perfect sense, because when you're anxious about something, it's because you're fearful of what you think's going to happen. So maybe it is. Yeah, actually you're right.
Because the anxiety is happens when the spiral kicks in. Because when you have fear, when fear presents itself, you deal with it, right? So whether it's in battle or whatever's happening, like there's fear. But anxiety, it turns into anxiety when the rumination starts and the spiral and the belief, and you're swept up in all that stuff. Then it's anxiety. So, and that's the step that I kept missing, is that I'd feel fear, believe it straight away, and it's a phantom, right? So there's actually nothing in that moment that is happening that I can do to get rid of that fear, because there's no threat. So if there's no threat, the threat's in the head. It's make-believes, and that's why you keep going around and around and around and around. Because if it was real, you would deal with it, and the fear's gone.
Yeah, which is one of the best things to do when you have problems is write it down.
Yeah,
that's what Nathan said at the start.
Yeah, because if you actually write it down, you've got to quantify it into what it is.
Yep.
But what happens is when it's in your head, it's the what ifs. It's not the problem. So
you've definitely built a. I mean, all the socials of yours that I've followed, and obviously meeting you today, you've definitely in your rebuild stage, you've built a personality that's it's a contagious personality. You are full of. I would say you're full of life. Like I get this energy off you that you're happy, you're energized, and now that you've broken down the whole thing about fear, you do come across as someone that's not fearing anything. Like,
oh, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, definitely do.
Wow.
Amongst all that, though, you look at the difference between the time of applause and then the time of silence on what society gave you. Yes, you've built your personality out of all these things, but what do you think built your character more through the time of being on stage and applauded, or the silence? What built the character of Nathan?
Ooh. When you say character, what do you mean? Like, just
your integrity, your who you are as a person, that won't go back, the foundations of who you are, that you go, you know what, I refuse to go beyond this because this is what makes me.
Oh, wow, that's a big question, right? I think that the reason why I don't regret the challenges that had been presented to me is because I've learnt from them and I'm stronger for it. So, I mean, that's a big part of what makes me and has shaped my character, is the shit that I went through when I was sick as a kid, the shit that I went through with those teachers, and all the stuff that I copped at school, right through to those mental health issues that I had. I mean, I suppose our character is kind of made up of all the things that we learn along the way, whether the things we've achieved and we've celebrated, to the dark times that show us what we're made out of, and when we what happens when you accept the lesson, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Is that the answer?
Yeah, I look. Yeah, it is, because I see lessons in life all the time that build up who we are, and I think that's where you do put that defining line between what makes your personality and what makes your character. And I think life throws you lessons at whatever comes.
Well, yeah, and I think I had a realization a couple of years ago, where I'm like, wow, my perception of life's challenges has changed. It used to be a battle, me versus the shit that the world's giving me, but now it's a collaboration, because everything that happens to me that attempts to hijack my peace or triggers me or whatever, straight away I'm going, what's the lesson in this? Like, before I even attempt to change the situation, if it's triggered me, what's the lesson? What do I need to learn right now? And when you keep doing that and you get to the other side, then life does just end up feeling like a collaboration, not a battle.
Yeah, that's right.
Like almost like doors are shutting to direct you to where you need to be. And that seems to be serving me.
You've spoken about a lot of, if I was to look at how you've rebuilt who you are, and or say built who you are, you have mentioned a lot what I would say it's about mastering you yourself as a human. Your fears, your anxieties, about you mastering you. So when you look at, I guess, the difference between mastering yourself, like if becoming a man is truly about mastering yourself and not mastering the world, If it's about mastering yourself, what's the hardest part of all that for you right now?
The hardest part, I mean, I think sometimes I struggle to sometimes I just get tired. Sometimes I just get tired of I go through these phases where I don't want to deal with fear. You know, if there's fear that's popped up in my life, which it still does, sometimes I'm just too tired to deal with it. And I go back to old ways where I wish that I didn't feel fear. I try to outrun fear, or, you know, in that moment where I just think I wish life was just simpler. You know, I wish. Like,
what do you try and outrun it with?
Well, what doesn't work, which is just a general sense of resistance. Like I know that when I'm tired and I feel like I'm low on willpower, it's generally because I'm resisting what is, because I don't want to feel it, or I wish that it wasn't so. It's like, it's so true what they say, especially in Buddhists obviously talk about it a lot, the power of acceptance. You know, like, it's just, acceptance is not condonement. You don't have to like it, but whatever presents itself in the moment has to be truly accepted. And I do struggle with that. That's my biggest struggle, because there are just some things where I'm just like, oh, yeah, it's like that part of the brain. It's just like, I don't want to, you know.
Out of curiosity, do you think you're rebuilding yourself, or do you remember the best version of yourself?
Ooh, yeah, is it like coming back home versus rebuilding? Like, what do you mean? Like, yeah. Is that,
so because Wayne was like, oh, you're rebuilding yourself right now. So is it that process where you're actually rebuilding yourself and recreating yourself, or is it a process of you actually remembering the best version of you previous and trying to move forward with that?
Oh, I reckon it's a bit of both, to be honest, because I still feel like, you know, when we're kids and, you know, we're emotionally reactive, you know, we're driven by desire, and for the most parts we're present. But as we go through life and we experience more things, then our brains, everything like evolves, and we've just got more that we've got to deal with. We've got more past to deal with. More pressures in the moment. I mean, that's why I personally believe that a lot of us don't have mental health issues unless they're like clinical until much later in life, because you need to live like it's like kids haven't fallen on their face hard enough to then be terrified of it moving forward, to know how low things can get. You know, as we're bound to experience some serious dark holes the more life you live. More pressures, more desires, more, you know, people, things, like all of this stuff, you know. But I think probably my biggest challenge also is just general belief, self-belief. I have self-belief in certain aspects of my life. A lot of it's to do with inner world, because that's the work that I've done. I don't have much self-belief when it comes to the things that I want to achieve externally. Yeah, that's a tricky one.
What do you think would rebuild that then, or build it? What would build that belief in yourself? I mean, you've come so far already. Why would you doubt yourself now?
Yeah, it's true. I think what you guys are doing is amazing. I think community is an issue, can be an issue. I'm starting to form like, when I say I'm not blaming the community that I had, the community I had probably I couldn't fully relate to, you know, in my world of music and all, you know, even just being, you know, somebody who runs your own business and stuff like that, right? But recently some of my close friends, new friends, move a little bit more in that space. I don't think we can work it out ourselves. Like, it's like, I think we do need to hold ourselves accountable for our decisions in our own beliefs, but also we can only we've only got the information around, you know, and it just helps when you have a community around you that can kind of just go, dude, this is how this was for me. And then, you know, I can relate to you here because I went through yada, yada, yada. But look at how things are for me now. It's no different to your situation. And, you know, those conversations really help.
You've just described an AJ's meetup.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah.
That's 100% big on that very thing.
Yeah.
Community of men, a brotherhood of.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you a question. I hope this is not a too personal question, but being someone who you are, musician, you carry this level of fame that, you know, coming from such a young age, being who you are, you would have a lot of people that you know and a lot of people that are acquaintances, right? But touching on what you've just said, what's your circle of friends like? Is that large?
At the moment, amazing. Yeah, I'm very, very lucky. I mean, like, say somebody like Diesel, he's been a close friend ever since I was 10 years old playing with him. He's probably the only one from that period that I've remained close with. I kind of had and this didn't help me. I had this perception of my situation that I felt like other artists might think I'm trying to be friends with them to get something out of them. You know? Yeah. So then I'd give them space and we'd never really get to that next level of friendship because I didn't want them to think that I was using them. I have a real paranoia about that.
That's a very healthy thing to have. I've got to say, I spend a lot of time with certain people in my life. I'm very, very purposeful about making sure that they wouldn't misunderstand me wanting to be friends with them.
Sure.
For trying to get something.
Yeah.
Like I hate the notion of just having a friend because of something you can get.
Yeah, transactional.
So,
but my paranoia, it was so much that I just I wouldn't even call them or write to them or we email them or whatever. Just so I didn't have any mates from that period. And so but then they were also the only ones that I could properly relate to because that was my industry. The only one that for some reason it just naturally worked out was Diesel, right? But now over the last sort of 3 to 4 years, I challenged that. And I kept kind of mirroring it and going, all right, well, and one recent was John Butler.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I was like, and it was actually...
He just toured here about 2 months ago.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he played at the station, I think it was, John Butler. Because he used to be the John Butler trio, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's pulled back to John Butler, yeah.
And he actually came to my gig in Margaret River. And we had a mad chat and lovely guy, awesome, right? And it was actually my partner that challenged me because he passed on his number. And straight away I went into that old mode of I don't want him to think I'm a moocher. I don't want him to think I'm trying to get a support, trying to get this or whatever. But then, but she's like, I highly doubt that he would think that of you. He came to your gig. He decided to talk to you and hang and everything, like just start up the conversation. And also, I think we have this thing where if you ask somebody for advice or help, and this is a paranoia I have, that puts me in the category of somebody like I'm using them.
Yep.
But if somebody was to ring me up and ask advice and they're a good person or whatever, I'd love to pass it on.
I have absolutely no boundary when it comes to stuff like that.
Oh yeah?
No, not at all. I don't know what it is. That's why when I first reached out to you, I said, "Oh yeah, well sweet, we'll stick around and stay for dinner."
Yeah, it's great. I love
no, because
that.
I just have no boundaries.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I just have no boundaries. Not because I don't think that. I just think
It's great till bedtime.
Okay, I got to go now.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what it is, but I look past. Because of everything I've done for so many years has been about people. I have a genuine love for people. So
same.
I like connecting with people. So I look past status, banners, badges, accolade. I like to get to know the person. I'm like, oh, well, sweet. Well, let's hang out.
Yeah,
So I expect a text message tomorrow, mate. Hey, we're hanging out. Nah.
I think I think it's a healthy thing, though. You know, you want to respect. You're not going to be using people and stuff, but I think from your aspect, you want to see what you can give as well too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think you're actually right. That's a good point.
yeah. Well, actually, to challenge you on that too.
What do you want, Jamie? What do you want? Just tell me.
Is
50.
no, but the point is though is that you're very quick to help, but you're not as quick to receive help.
Yeah, you're spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I struggle with that because a lot of the people who have helped me, I want to help them, but they don't come, like they have troubles asking as well. Like it's like asking for help.
Oh, it's a classic thing. Mike moving. He's like, oh, I'm so busy. I was like, I'll come around and help you. Oh, no.
Yes, yeah.
And I was like,
I'm like that too. Yeah,
Mike, I want to help you
yeah,
move.
yeah.
And he's like, okay.
Okay, yeah.
It's more that it's more that you get in the way. That's what it is. We just didn't want to,
Yeah, but do you not want to receive
Wayne,
it because
he's coming over. Oh, I'm going to get under the feet.
Wayne, give me an excuse to cancel Jamie.
yeah, well, you don't want to receive help because then you owe them.
It's easy to feel that way too. Oh God, if I say yes, then I've got to owe them something.
Yeah.
Oh, you feel like you're putting them out though, right? Of
course you do.
When
Yeah,
you live
that's
that
right.
way, you go, because you've said it. You say, I just don't want to. I don't want to put them out. I don't want to get under their feet. I don't want to. Don't want them to feel like I want something. It's
Yeah. But to answer your question, I'm blessed with the friends that I've got at the moment. I've got a very small group of friends, and I've got an amazing family. But I was just saying to some new friends that I have that something as simple as, we had a tough week that involved some hospital visits. Was like they're like, do you want us to bring you some food? I was like, what? That's a rare thing. It shouldn't be. Just the check-ins, a little text here and there. Can we do anything for you or whatever? I mean, everyone's busy, but there's even just that little gesture. I was like, God, that's amazing. It's not just somebody ringing up to talk about themselves. They even asking questions. I was having this conversation with a friend. He's like, I remember my dad teaching me really early on, when you're socializing, ask questions. And then when you're aware of that, when it comes to asking questions in conversation, you start to, and you're looking at a group of people, you realize, God, a lot of people just talk at each other. Nobody asks anybody questions. They're just talking at each other. But when somebody genuinely asks you something about yourself, it makes you feel good, doesn't it? Like, wow, they're really interested in my world.
Yeah.
We say it all the time. Like when you asking or talking to somebody, if you give a guy an opportunity to give you a one-word answer, he's going to give you a one-word answer. So ask a question that requires actual thought, so that the response is actually thought about too, and it starts a conversation. Because if I say to you,
How's
hey,
work?
mate, hey, how's work? Good. How you been? Good. How's your business? Good. One-word answers. But if I say, well, tell me about your week. Well, if I said, because I in conversation with Mel leading up to this, she touched on the fact that you guys had a pretty hard week with hospital.
Yeah.
And when she said that, I'm like, when someone's open enough to go down that path, you're like, well, I'm appreciative that someone did, because it could have just been a brush off. But you go, well, I'm glad that it goes beyond just the whole whatever. It has that little bit more depth, and that's when you really get to know anyone.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
What's the Nathan 10 years from now? Where do you see yourself? Who's that guy?
I mean, I've broken down my goals into fundamentals, because I know that if I'm too specific, it's you miss out on the signs that are going, no, here is better. So I just want to keep bringing joy to people's lives through music and telling my story. I want to continue to do more work in the mental health space. I'm putting together an online course at the moment, specifically for performers, but performers in lots of different spaces though. Just if I can entertain and help people along the way, and I will be transparent about this, because I think people don't talk enough about money in a healthy way. It's a weird topic, isn't it? Sticky. But if I can generate an income that allows me to keep doing it, so that I can provide for my family, thumbs up. You know, that's my big goal at the moment. But also enjoy the process, like be in the now as much as possible. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the mini wins. You know, my family are number one, and you know, that's if I'm doing that, working in that space, I'm happy. I'm a happy man. I mean, I am a happy man. Anyway, you know, there's a piece there that doesn't rely much on how things are going.
In putting that together in the future, mate, if there's anything that we can do to help you or be a part of it, you got to reach out, mate. Let us know if there's something that we can be involved in, or if we can push it. If there's something we can do to help,
thank you.
Make sure you reach out to us.
Yeah, I will.
We really appreciate you making the time to come out to us, mate.
Oh, pleasure.
We're at your gig tomorrow.
Too much fun.
Did we let you know? I don't know if we did. You going to no?
No, thanks, guys.
No, well, yeah. Well, Mikey and his wife and myself and my wife will be at the gig tomorrow at Nambour.
Yeah, Nambour with a precinct, and then
I thought I told you.
Just 30 years full circle.
Weekend.
You haven't signed a pair of boobs since you were 14.
But
yeah.
Wayne's going to have a few beers tomorrow. You might get to sign his.
You just texted us here, mate. The left one's bigger, so you'll fit more. You'll fit a whole message.
That's funny.
Mate, we really appreciate it, mate. That's, thanks for being so raw, vulnerable, open, honest, and just being yourself, mate.
Oh, pleasure. Thanks
like
for
I said,
the space for it.
Leading into it, I picked up that you're a good bloke just by watching some of your socials, and then after this, mate, you're genuinely, your heart is in the right place, and your heart's to help people, which is exactly where we're at here.
Yeah.
So you're a good guy,
Thank
mate.
you.
We wish you all the best in what you're doing. Like I said, we'll be at the gig tomorrow.
Yep.
Tell everyone what's your tour looking like coming up.
Yeah, well, this is the end of the tour, but I'm planning something big for next year, which will probably be more in the storytelling space, like in theatres. So I think the best thing to do is nathancavaleri.com/tour. That's where I put all my gig dates, sign up to the mailing list. There's also a page on my website for people who want to register their interest in the course, the online course, to help people get beyond fear and anxiety. And yeah, drop by a live stream. I'm on Twitch and TikTok and even YouTube Tuesday nights and Friday nights from 5 p.m. just kicking it, and we have all sorts of cool conversations and play tunes and, you know, so but if you also want to support what I do financially, I've got a Patreon set up for that as well. So,
and that's can be accessed through your page again?
Patreon, it'll be patreon.com/Nathan Cavaleri. Yeah.
Awesome, mate. You had a new album come out, your live one. Live at the
Weedy. Yeah, all that stuff is on like Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever you stream on. So the last studio album's called Miracles. That's something I'm really proud of. And yeah, live at the Weedy. And there's a couple of singles since. One's called Mama's Coming, which relates to the boob incident. It's a fun song. Yeah.
Could be a new one for next year's tour.
Yeah. And then Tilba, about a little town down south. Which is a reminder to just have a little more faith in mystery.
I love it. Well, the big question that we all want to know, mate, tomorrow's gig, are you going to give the Average Joe's Men's Collective a big shout out from stage now?
It was already.
Wayne, get off the stage. Get off the stage.
Wayne, get off the stage. Oh, guys, I just want to be a part of it. Mate, thanks once again. We'll put your link there on the bottom too, so guys can reach out.
Yeah.
And I encourage you guys listening, be a part of it, especially this course that Nathan's creating and putting together. Jump onto his Patreon, support him, and check out our socials. I'll put a link there too, but check out Nathan's TikTok, his Instagram, all that stuff, to see where all the gigs are coming up, because I know you're at Brisbane Saturday night.
Yeah, Brisbane Saturday night, and then we finish off in Ipswich, actually.
Yeah, right, okay.
Burbs,
so I think
that'll be fun.
Yeah. So we'll be, look, we're going to release this in a couple of days, so probably be after the Brisbane gig, but check out when Nathan's travelling up and down Australia. And mate, thanks once again, mate. Absolute legend, mate. Thanks for being part of it.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, mate.
Well, guys, thanks for being a part of the Average Joe's Men's Collective podcast once again. Like we say every week, jump on the socials, find out where we are, where our meetups are. You're more than welcome to come along. But like we say, more and more, you'll hear it repetitive time and time again. The world needs better men. So guys, get out there, become better men, because the world needs it. Your family needs it. Your community needs it. Get out there and be that guy. Gents, thanks for joining me here once again on the podcast and the panel. Been great.
Thanks, boys.
Awesome. Excellent. Thanks, guys.